Larry Ohh. This is an FL Studio podcast where we talk about everything FL Studio and music production related. Every single week, we have a massive giveaway where we give away every single one of my courses to 5 people in the comments from yahelpme.com. All you have to do to enter is listen for the keyword or the key phrase, drop it down in the comment section here on YouTube, and you're automatically entered. Every single week, we pin the winners in the comments. We just started podding for people at home. We just started talking. I wanted to do a legit intro, but why not? Like our guest for today, you have to know this kid. His name is the Backpack Kid. You may know him from Viral Moment. I don't know how long ago is that now at this point.
2017, the very end of 2016.
2016.
So pretty much all of 2017, 2018, rolled into 2019 a little bit.
The video. Everybody knows the videos and the content and the guest appearances that you made. Everybody knows all about that stuff. I couldn't pinpoint like what the first moment was. Like when was the first time that like you went viral or got noticed? What was the very first thing?
The very, very, very first thing was when I was in 8th grade at the time. Instagram just started coming around as a social media app. Vine, I think either just shut down or it was about to shut down, so everyone was transferring to a new one. Instagram came around. It was still on like the brown logo. I'm sure you remember that.
Yep.
Everything was 15-second square format. Yeah, I just saw people start posting dance videos or just creating content to express their own creativity and their own craft, and it inspired me to start doing the same. And I was just a kid. I just started posting little dance videos on Instagram. And when I first started posting videos, a meme page with like 700,000 followers somehow randomly ran into my page. I had like 300 followers. I had a whole bunch of dance videos of just me in my room dancing, whatever. And he reposted one of the videos and tagged me. So that page was like the first ever repost on social media that I ever got. I forgot the name of it, and I don't know what it's up to now, but
that's so crazy when reposts were a huge thing back then.
Yes, absolutely.
You're bringing me back right now. Like I remember there was repost apps and everything.
Yep. That was huge. That was huge for when Instagram first started to come around.
Yep.
That was the first time I was reposted somewhere else, and that kind of jump-started everything. I started getting thousands and thousands of followers. Everyone at school started hating.
I bet.
Everyone at school started hating. They're like, man, what's going on? It was hating before I started getting the followers. And some people switched up real quick. Some people took a while, but a lot of them switched up eventually at the end.
You find out who your real friends are at that point kind of thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yep.
But yeah, found out real quick.
So this was 8th grade.
Going. Yeah, it was almost the end of 8th grade.
Damn, man, I can't imagine like going majorly viral like that, where essentially the whole country at that point, and eventually like I feel like your stuff is seen all over the world, and then the opportunities that you got from that are just like outrageous, like the SNL with Katy Perry. Yes. What was one of the biggest things that you think like came from that whole virality?
So the Saturday Night Live performance with Katy Perry, that was about less than a year when I started going viral. That repost that I just told you about.
Wow, so that was right away that happened.
Yeah, that's how fast social media works. Like less than a year later from that first repost to SNL. Saturday Night Live came around because in 2016, Rihanna reposted one of my videos, and that was one of like my big major reposts, rather than just like meme pages. That one was what got Katy Perry to recognize me. About 5 months later is when I went on SNL.
Where you feel like it was at a point where like almost anything you posted, if it had a dance in it or something like that along those lines, it would just go. It would take off every time.
And it was.
Yeah.
And it was. And if it didn't, it was like close.
Were you getting like any deals like right away, like any sort of brand deals or like companies
right
and brands?
Right after Saturday Night Live, hell yeah.
Yeah. After Saturday, before it, anything before it, or like
small things.
Yeah.
Small things. But I had full-time management after Saturday Night Live.
Got you. What are you doing now? Like, I know that you're big into production, but have you always been into music? Have you always been into FL Studio? Like, how long? Like, when did all that stuff start?
So, I think it was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. I played clarinet, but I wasn't like passionate about it. It was just, my friends were taking band. I would take band too. We got a clarinet, whatever.
Learn the basics.
Yeah. I didn't retain any of the information in those 3 years because I didn't like want to.
Yeah.
I didn't have the passion for it yet. So 3 years of that led to nothing for the next 4 years. In high school, I didn't do anything musical. Besides making like the Flossin' song that I made that went viral along with my original viral like moment time period. As long as some other songs that I was dropping, but That was more so just kind of going with the energy and the flow of what like was going on with me and social media and everything. More so than I was like really passionate about it. So after I started to grow up a little bit and I started to do new things and I started to do the dance less, and that brought a lot of people away from what I was doing just because a lot of them are just there for what's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
That's when I started to figure out that I want to learn things long term for my career. And great things take time, and I knew I wanted to take that time to start doing the things that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. I'm young. I'm only 23 now. I have the whole rest of my life to do all the things
bro,
that I want to do.
You're mad young.
Yeah. I'm pretty young, even if I'm thinking I'm reaching unk status or whatnot. Some people call me like a social media uncle at this point.
Well, that's
pretty cool,
like
you know?
that's what happens with the internet. When you
Yeah.
said like 2016, I'm like, damn, 2016 is 9 years ago at this point, but it still seems like that's quick. I feel like if somebody would ask me, I would have been like, oh, it happened like 15, 20 years ago. But that's how
Yeah.
fast social media is, because I
Yeah.
feel like I made this post like a month ago. And really, I made it last week or 3 months ago. I feel like and it was just like a few days ago or last week. The social media machine just keeps things going so fast. It's such a fast pace. It's always what's next, especially if you're used to consuming all the short form content. It just goes in and out so quick. It's just like a revolving door, like what's next type of thing. What drew you to FL Studio?
Right after I graduated high school, I was 18 years old. My mom is a part-time substitute teacher that teaches at middle and high school sometimes, and she is always proactive about opening up new opportunities for me. Love her to death. That's a great mom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So she met with the piano teacher at one of the high schools that she worked at for a couple of days and whatnot. So she came up to me and was like, "Would you like to take piano lessons maybe?" I met with the piano teacher.
So you
and I was
learned
watching
piano
a lot of-
first
yeah.
before you touched like any DAW?
Well, actually, no. I touched FL Studio about 6 months before I started playing piano.
What made you go with FL versus something else? You thinking, I want to start getting into beats. I want to learn how to do this. What makes you go with FL Studio? Because I know like for some people, it's always different. It's always just like the first thing that I Googled, or it's like, my friends use it. Like, is that what it was? Like a lot of your friends that did music?
Right. They were all using FL Studio.
Yeah.
So they were like, it's the easiest, it's the cheapest or whatever.
Yep.
It's not $600 like Pro Tools. It's the easiest interface. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just get this one.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, FL Studio, it's what I've been using ever since, but I also have Pro Tools as well. I know how to use that a little bit for recording vocals and whatnot. But I got to I started making beats. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna start making beats. And as soon as I first started, I was like, ooh, okay, I'm not as good as I thought I was gonna be. But that's just
It's harder than it looks.
That's just the journey. Yeah, that's just the journey of it. But for about 6 months, and I was making beats, I started to feel like I was kind of at a standstill with my progress and my ability to progress. So that's when I started to get into playing piano and taking lessons and learning music theory and learning how to read music, learning how it works, learning about chords and scales and all the circle fifths and everything. And that's when I really feel like I started progressing with my production. And I know long term that I want to be a film composer. I've been a big fan of Hans Zimmer ever since I started playing
He's
piano.
crazy.
And oh, he's insane.
You know,
Absolutely
that?
insane.
Hans Zimmer.
Oh, Hans Zimmer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Ridiculous.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Like the-
Interstellar.
Oh, Interstellar. I mean, I just saw something the other day that was like
Spider
Inception,
Pig,
bro.
there was somebody on the other day, and it was like a big time director or somebody in a video that said it was like Hans Zimmer is the greatest of all time, like the greatest film composer of all time. Like there's nobody better than him. And as far as like names go,
Hans
he's the
Zimmer
only
got
one I
He's
know.
up there for sure.
Have you ever heard
John Williams.
Spider Pig from the Simpsons movie?
Don't forget John
No.
Williams, though.
Hans Zimmer did Spider Pig from the Simpsons movie.
Really?
Oh yeah. Hans Zimmer got bangers.
Yeah. I mean, he's like,
Bangers. That's my guy right
Yeah,
there.
he's got a lot of them.
yeah. What was the name that you just said?
John Williams. He did Star Wars. He did Indiana Jones.
Oh my God, yeah.
I think that him and Hans Zimmer are neck and neck
Yeah.
with being the best of all time.
You know,
The
and
biggest
you're a
of all
little bit
time.
young for this, but we're gonna talk about like composing and films and stuff like that. Have you ever watched like '90s movies or anything like that?
Titanic,
Yeah.
and I think The Prince of Egypt
Titanic?
was 1999. The Lion King.
There was something
from
different
that-
about.
1994.
I think John Williams did Lion King, did he not? Who did Lion King?
Hans Zimmer.
Oh,
did Lion
shit.
King.
Come on.
Crazy. That
Back
guy's
to-
name is on
Come
everything,
on,
bro.
man.
Yo.
He's
Come
on
on, man.
literally everything. But what I was getting at with the 90s stuff, if you go back and you have time and you like watch a couple of random 90s movies, even if it's like Disney, like a Mrs. Doubtfire.
Seen that, I've
so
seen that.
if you watch it, next time you watch it or a movie like that around that
Home
time.
Alone.
Yeah, Home Alone's a great example because if you listen to the scoring in that movie, they don't do it like that anymore.
Facts.
One of the reasons why they don't really do it like that anymore, because I think it's like so expensive. They can do it digitally. I don't know when it switched up. Like right in the early 2000s. I feel like right when it hit like 99, 2000, the composing and the film scoring just like drastically changed. And I don't know what it was, but like there's just something about a 90s movie, and maybe it's nostalgic to me because I'm old, but there's just something about the scoring and the music and the composing in those 90s movies that's just like it's like nothing else. And a lot of it had to do with Hans Zimmer, full on orchestras, full on like
Yes.
the orchestra
Yeah.
would sit there and watch the movie as they were playing it. You know what I mean? Type of thing.
If you notice, movies nowadays, they don't even really use like traditional music for a lot of like, composition style. They'll just use like, if you watch A24 movies, they just use like sound effects and weird like undertones to make the scene like come across a certain way. So it is really interesting to see how that like music within
And a lot of those are
has
getting
changed.
like outsourced through these I don't know if you're familiar with it, but like these like pools of like sync pools. Yeah, like you sign up to a sync licensing company, you sign a deal with them maybe, and they ask for this and that, and you upload all that stuff like that. Like just random we want something dark that has a lot of atmospheric sounds that has like all these descriptive sounds and stuff. And
Nowadays, a lot of editors have in their software like almost like cloud software where you can link over from, whatever it would be, almost like Splice or the cloud in FL now.
it's huge, yeah, man. It's like
Tap right in.
and that's a way to get into scoring in a sense. I mean, maybe that's a step in that direction just to kind of get your foot in the doors. Because I think that's just the way with the times that we're in right now.
For sure.
We're in the 90s, that stuff didn't exist. So that's a huge reason why it's different. If they wanted sound in a movie, in a TV show or something like that, they had to
Hit up John Williams.
they had to physically, they had to hire a composer, they had to hire a large orchestra, they had to hire what do you call it? A conductor. They had to hire the whole nine, bro. It's like
the auditorium.
yeah, they don't have to do that anymore. So like people like us can like compose from our rooms and our home studios and make it into a movie. So that's awesome. I think that you want to get into that because that's
dope.
That's fire. There's so many opportunities.
Hell yeah.
That's like so. I was gonna ask about like your goals as. Excuse me. I was gonna ask as like what are your goals as a producer? So that's one of them. Like
Absolutely. Yeah. That I would say that's because with producing, there's so many routes you can take if you're producing or making any type of music. But as far as my personal drive, I'm going towards film composition. But I'm very open-minded to where my music can take me with opportunity.
yeah, I would say
Long
just
term.
say yes to
I'll
everything.
make a song with Drake. Exactly. Yeah.
Just say yes to everything, big and small. It's like, at that point when you're just like starting out producing or like it's been a few years or whatever the case is, like even if you're 10 years in, I'd say if you have the time for it and you can make it make sense, like just say yes. Just do it. I mean, unless somebody's like
That's how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
There's nothing to lose. I put my ego to the side. I know I'm not a famous composer, producer yet. Yeah, I have this big name that I've built for myself, but it's for something that I did a long time ago. If I'm going to put that energy into something else and something new, it's going to take a little time. It's going to take a little bit of time. Hans Zimmer has been making music since he was like 8, and he was doing it all day, every day. I don't make music all day, every day. I do other things as well.
Yep.
When I am making music, I'm aspiring to do film composition just for the fact of I really appreciate the time and effort that you have to put into a project like that. Like I've done a couple of independent films so far, and it's fun to just kind of lock in for like a week or 2 or 3 or however long it is and just focus on it, not have to worry about all the other things of life.
Yeah, bro.
Compared to social media where it's kind of taking you out of that realm.
That's awesome.
And that's just kind of what I've been used to growing up being a social media influencer. That's like almost all I know. So breaking
Different
out
world.
of that is where exactly. I want to experience both of the worlds of entertainment.
Hell yeah.
On social media and behind the scenes.
It's awesome, man. And you can at the same time, like you utilize your name. You're doing something different, but there's people that if you're in the entertainment business in general, like a lot of people they they switch up what they do, and obviously like you
all the time.
can't just do that same dance in a video forever. You know what I mean? It's like, what can you do? Like, so it's like you got to kind of pivot and move with the way things are going and whatever your passions are. Like, just keep running with your passions, and like you are your brand. You know what I mean? No matter what, like that's like you are your brand. At that time, you did a dance that went majorly viral, and you did all
and
these.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah,
Made a lot
of course.
of people happy. It brought a lot of people together.
Exactly.
It went viral and went into a lot of dope, interesting projects, and it gave me the position of being able to utilize my name and make a living as I'm chasing my dreams for the future.
Yep. Exactly, man. That's awesome. So when you're composing and when you're doing this stuff, like are you using FL Studio primarily with that, or are you using Pro Tools a little bit too?
I'm mainly using FL Studios just because they have the video player VST that I know how to use. I figured out how to use it, so I can score to the film. You know, Pro Tools is a little bit trickier to produce. I think I've never tried it, but from what I've heard and what I've seen, it is a bit trickier. I only use Pro
especially
Tools
if you
because
got used to FL like that already. Like, it's a different game. If you were doing mostly,
they're all similar.
Yeah,
but just a different interface.
Yeah, for sure. So you're utilizing that video player in there.
For sure, I love it. Yeah, it as soon as you play, it'll play through the timeline. It'll just play through whatever scene I'm scoring.
Are you able to screen share and just show like an example of it? Because honestly, I've never done it.
Yeah, me neither.
I've never done it. I've never been able to mess with it or had it. The only time that I've ever done, while you're doing that, I want to say something to John, and you can chime in if you want to. But the only time I've ever used that video player was when I think it first dropped. Everybody's talking about it. You know, it's on everything. It's like, you know, FL Studios YouTube channels talking about it. They're showing how to use it. I'm like, oh, maybe I can make, and it was at the time I was dropping a lot of my own beats. So I was like, maybe I can make a visualizer for my beats. So I started to try to utilize, to do that. Tried to watch a couple tutorials. And at the time, my computer just couldn't handle it. I think it was a video card thing. So you have to have like a really good video card.
Gotcha.
Yep.
So on the few projects that I've done, like commercial sort of like jingles for and all that, I just had it pulled up in like Windows Movie Maker.
Try to sync it.
Yeah, and I just play along to it. You know what I'm saying? They would send me like a rough cut with no audio to it, and I would just kind of go off of the emotion in the side window there. But I never used the video player. I think probably for similar reasons. I just was usually off like some burner laptop.
Yeah,
you know?
My computer at that time could not handle it. Mine probably couldn't even handle it now because I don't think I have a good video card. So I think it would like crap out.
It takes a lot on FL.
Them fans kick on, and you know it's a wrap.
That laptop sounds like it's about to take off.
All right, so this was the last independent film that I was.
So how do you open that up? Like what? So what are you going to? Where are you opening that up on a mixer channel? This is how much of a noob I am with this. Like I have no idea what you even do to open this up and where to go because I haven't even touched it probably since they like first dropped it in FL.
The video player, huh?
Yeah, like how do you open that up?
So that's in the channel rack.
In channel rack.
The Fruity video player.
What?
And then you just upload. I think I paid for it if it wasn't free. And maybe it has like a trial thing where it only lasts like a minute or something.
For the Fruity video player?
Maybe.
Really?
I can't remember if I paid for it or not.
Or maybe it just ends up in the all plugins bundle, like the highest version.
Maybe. I paid $200 for my FL, so I don't think it came with.
You then at that point I don't think you had the all plugins bundle, so maybe you had to get this separately.
I probably did. It's probably like $25 or like $50 or whatever. It just plays the. So yeah, it's easy to be able to make the music towards the music when I'm. Towards the film as I'm looking at it.
That's crazy, bro, and it just syncs up.
Scene. Yeah.
So does it drop when you drop it in the channel rack like that? So you drop it in the channel rack, right? Act like you're about to like open up a new one for me if you can, because I think this is like crazy interesting. Real quick, want to give a huge shout out to our sponsor for today's episode, Lander. Lander is an awesome website for producers, artists, anybody that's DIY. They have a ton of different plugins, including Lander AI Mastering. A couple of them that I've been using a lot lately is this one by Synchro Arts called Vocal Line. You probably heard of it. Lines up your vocals, especially if you have layers, harmonies. Another great one is Repitch by Synchro Arts. It's a manual tuning plugin, super in-depth, really good for tuning vocals to get a natural sound out of them. One that I've been utilizing a lot is called Lander Stems plugin, click and drag songs straight into it, instantly get the stems, and you're good to go. That being said, I'm going to leave a link down in the description below if you want to check out all of Lander's plugins and all they have to offer on the website. Let's get right back into the episode.
So boom, adding a new VST.
Yep.
And then it's just at the top here for me for the video player.
Yep.
And it just opens up.
And then you find the video file.
Yeah.
You open up the video file. And then what does it do? Does it put anything into the playlist that shows like the length of it? Like how does it know like
good question. So it'll just be however long that it would be. You see, like it freezes right here because it's
because you don't have anything else in the playlist up to that point, but it can still go.
Yeah, and it would just be a black screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
It took me a little second to figure out how it works, but as an aspiring film composer and a working film composer, since I did this one that you're seeing, it's definitely been very useful in syncing up the music towards the scene. Because sometimes there's, cuts, and this was a comedy, so a lot of these things that I was doing, there's like cuts, and they got to be timed correctly, rather than just trying to guess and then put it along with it, or like get the time code from the scene and then cut it right there. It's more fun to see it with it.
Wow, that's dope, man. I feel like that would make me want to like just do more creative stuff for some reason. Now, like my gears are turning.
Like when you're
trying to
doing
think, like, how can I
background
utilize
music
it?
for your own projects.
Yeah. Bro.
When you're doing background music for your own projects, like when all my content that I make on social media, all of the music that you would hear is mine, just because of copyright and everything.
Yeah.
And that's another reason why I got into producing. That was one of the major reasons, because YouTube started copywriting your video, and they would take all the money if you use somebody else's song. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just put my own beats behind my videos, and I mean, it's just a beat.
Yeah.
And if it's mine, I make sure it doesn't get copyrighted for whenever I make content, and I don't have to ever worry about that for the rest of the time.
Yeah, it's a good way to go about it. I mean, because even if you go to some of these royalty-free sites for music, like for background beats and stuff for your content on social media, a lot of people, what they do is, I don't know if you've run into this, but maybe you have, like, if you get a beat off of a site that's royalty-free and they're not supposed to YouTube ID it or do anything like that, but then they do. Or even like with samples, bro, they do it with samples.
Yeah, they'll say half the samples on the splice will get you a copyright.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if at some point that could possibly happen with stuff on FL Cloud. I hope it doesn't, because there's a ton of samples and it is like that whole splice vibe as well. I hope it doesn't happen,
with
but
all
that should
this
just like show
technology, you never know how things could develop. You know what I'm saying? Like this is all brand new technology we're talking about, like where AI is being used, cloud softwares are being used, royalty and IP is going to be like at the forefront, I think, for a lot of this stuff.
And I think the way to avoid a lot of that stuff is if you are utilizing samples, chop them up and flip them to the point where nothing can recognize it.
They can't.
And that, number one, it's a win-win, because you're getting more creative, you're learning more, you're chopping up samples, you're learning new skills while chopping up more and learning how to flip something into something that it was never. First of all. Second of all, you won't get hit with a copyright claim.
Some secret sauce is some add your own music on top of stuff too.
Yeah,
that can help, because even if it's just like a quick loop of something, if you stack some different chords and different harmonies on top, it's going to register as a whole nother thing on at least all the YouTube ID stuff for sure.
Hell yeah. That's
awesome.
I
don't know if it'll hold up in court. It's Eye of the Tiger with a seventh chord on top somewhere.
A slight, a gate. I put a little gate on it.
There you
go. But that
Phaser.
Back to like the video player and stuff, like I feel like I could be utilizing that so much more now, right now, for some reason, like because
absolutely.
I do a lot of my own
even
video
when I'm
stuff.
practicing. Even when I'm practicing, I'll just put a video in here and just kind of score along with it.
There you go.
You can put anything in there, just take the audio out of it. So if you want to,
you just mute the audio of this, or if you want to put it over, you just keep the audio.
Now, here's another thing. Are you able to, let's see, so you got this video in here. Are you able to take the audio out of it and separate it and drop it in as its own thing into the playlist so you can mix it differently if it had its own audio already?
That is a fantastic question that I would say
you got to be able to. It's got to be a thing in there, no? You would think? So that way you could mix everything.
I'm going to try to So here, just for okay. So I'm gonna try. I tried putting it as a thing in the channel rack. Where'd I put it? Like I put this note right here. Hold
Mm-hmm.
on. So here we go. I want to mute everything. Let me see if it would play. I guess not.
Hmm.
Well, because I put
That
this
would
right
be crazy
here
if you could.
as a note. I'm not hearing it. It's not muted, I don't think. Oh, it is. Oh,
Hmm.
wait, hold on. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so that's the note. Let me try to expand this note and then maybe export as a wave or something. Or something. I forgot. It's something like that you can do. It's like
Consolidate it.
turn it like to turn MIDI into a wave file.
Yeah. So what track is it on right now?
It's
Is it in a
on
mixer track?
1.
Yeah. So just
It's
go
on
into
mixer track
track one, go down to the bottom and hit that little record button, little arm button, and then hit
Yeah.
Alt and R, or Option R if you're on a Mac.
Alt R.
Yep.
Like that?
Yep. And then start.
Oh, okay. And then start. Okay, so we're gonna see what this does. So I put the note length all the way out to see if it would maintain. And so this will just put it over on the side over here to drag it.
It should drop it right into the channel rack and into like the playlist little drop side menu over there, like in the audio section.
Okay. Why is it taking so long?
It's probably just going like the full length of your song in your session.
It might. Hope I didn't have a crazy long session somehow. It
looks like it just came to a crawl at 50. It was like it kind of flew to right there.
Hi-hat at 300 at the measure 300. Oof.
But I was just curious about that because
me too.
It would be crazy if you got a video that has its own audio in it already, and you are handling the whole thing, right? And maybe they don't know how to separate it, or they haven't sent you the separate files yet. So maybe you can get a better feel for that whole scoring process where you can really blend and mix the audio that they send you with the audio that you're creating on your end.
So what we did with the director of this film, I just made the music, and like how I did was I muted the audio of the scene I was watching, and then I would send him just the file of the like composition behind it. I sent it at full volume, and then he adjusted it on his end.
Yeah, they just do it on their end. Yeah.
So I guess. I think we're good. Look.
I can't hear that right now, probably because it's just crazy audio settings between like FL, OBS, and all that stuff. But it did what we were talking about.
Yeah, like awesome. This right here. Oh, hold on. Oops. Hold on.
Just left to the left a little bit. There you go.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, this is that audio. Yeah, I guess you can't hear it, but
yeah, but so you can do that. So that's interesting.
Whoa, that would have been useful to try when I was working.
So you see how he did that though? How crazy that is? Because you're bringing it in the video player. You draw a MIDI note in the piano roll as the video player.
I don't even think I had to do that.
You might not have.
I don't think I had to do that because I didn't make the note that long of how long the length of the actual video is. I just put a long one just to see. But yeah, I think
it's just getting it because you alt-art it. You consolidated it the way we did it.
I think that's what it did. Incredible. Oh, that's sick.
But that's a cool way to do it. And then now you could blend it if you wanted to. Like even if you are sending it to them to mix and whatnot, have like as a final mix, I think it would still, for me, like that would be like what I would do if I was in that situation.
Yeah, it's still
I can get a better ear for everything.
Yeah, you can get it better, and you can also see the waveform because obviously, like on this, you're just listening to the guy talking or whatnot.
Now, if there's a part where you need to really put an impact and you know that it's on some little clip of audio, you can actually see that audio. That's what helps me when I'm video editing a lot of stuff. I can see the audio. I got the video the smallest it can be, and the audio almost the biggest I can be without losing the whole screen. Like, so that way I make all my chops based on audio,
right?
And it's just so easy for me. So whenever I can see the audio, it's like
that's the track for there.
Yeah,
for sure.
It makes it easier. It makes it easier rather than just looking at the audio, rather than just looking at the screen and not knowing how loud they're saying what they're saying. And
awesome.
yeah, I remember. I forgot if it was a scene or it was another scene. There were some parts that were just extremely piercy, and then others were like really quiet. So, yeah, I would have been able. It would have been easy if I just like put a compressor on it or whatnot. But yeah, I just let it pierce my ears on those high parts.
That's awesome, man. So another reason why and how FL can do literally everything.
Yeah, no kidding.
FL's crazy.
No kidding.
Yeah,
Like nobody talks about doing
yeah.
using FL like that. Like there's
No,
really not
no,
many
they do.
people.
I haven't heard a single one. I've watched so many like behind the scenes videos done on composers that have done films just because I want to see like what that process looks like, and not a single one of them has used FL.
No.
They've all used I think Hans Zimmer uses
Nuendo.
Ableton. No,
Ableton can do it?
No way. Maybe. I don't think he does it like this. I don't know how he does it. It never, and all of them that I've seen, I've never seen how like the big people.
Yeah, I mean they got some other stuff that's like on
They
another
probably
level. That's probably been around for
$700,000.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
He probably puts it on. They probably puts it on the projector, and it's like linked
Yeah.
to his computer, and it will just stop and play whenever.
yeah.
He's got a guy.
And at this point,
Yeah,
he's got a guy. He was like, if you asked him, he'd probably be like, I don't know, just I tell this guy to do this.
I've
this,
been doing
this.
it since '93.
Whatever it is, it's way easier than it was in '93. Now I'm sure it is. So, like
But
clearly,
he does use a lot of like I think how you were saying how in the 2000s when film composition started changing around a little bit. I think it's just when electronic music in film became more widespread. Like how you were saying, it was a lot of orchestral live stuff.
Yeah.
When it came to a lot of the movies back then, but now you'll hear a whole bunch of synthesizers, and there's just so many ways of modulating sound nowadays compared
There's
You
to
hear a lot
many-
of
there's so much
mashups now
available.
too. If you
Violin.
notice that too in trailers and movies, they'll do a lot of mashups now.
Yeah.
Like I noticed it with
Yeah.
Jordan Peele when he put out what was the movie? Not it was Get Out.
Get
right?
Out.
Get Out, where he did like the 5 on It remix. Or no, that was
Yeah.
Us. That was Us, where he
Yeah.
does the mashup. So
Yep.
that flipped the whole kind of like medium in a lot of ways too.
Yeah.
So
And what's crazy is, I mean, sometimes it can go both ways. Like a director or a music supervisor can hear something that's already out there and be like, I need that for this film.
Yeah.
Or it's like the director's like, I need something like this for this film. Go find somebody that can do this.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
want this mashed up with this, and I want this to be done like this.
Right.
Like, so it happens both ways, but it's just so just in general, like the creative process of all of this stuff is just so like interesting to me. And I've always
Yeah.
loved
No,
scoring.
absolutely.
I've always wanted to like really get into it. I've done
It's storytelling.
yeah, it is. It's storytelling. I love
always
it, bro.
appreciate helping tell stories.
Yeah,
And
man.
this is a director's way of telling their story.
Yep. I've done little things where it wasn't like an entire film or like a scene or anything like that, but it would be like I've done mixes and maybe some mashups like that needed those energy swells and those risers and the impacts and stuff that really needed to tell a story. Like, and FL for that is great. Nothing like this with video composing, but I might start diving into it just for the hell of it. Now that
Sure.
I know that video player is that easy to use.
Yeah. Yeah, the video player has been very, very useful as soon as I discovered it was a thing. And I wouldn't have expected FL to have something like that. Honestly, I would have as soon as I figured out that I would have wanted to pursue film composition, I would have probably just completely switched to something else that had something like this. But thankfully it had it.
It's got
I've just
everything,
been able
bro.
to use it. Yeah.
It's got everything.
It's got everything I've ever needed.
Yep. Well, I appreciate you coming on. I think it's about time we can wrap it. Man, I really appreciate you coming on here and chopping it up with us.
Absolutely, yeah. I learned something new. I learned that you can now dump the audio from the video player.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's like other things. I'm gonna dive into it, and I'll DM you if I find something different on it. Because
Find
now
something different on it.
I'm
yeah.
literally tomorrow when I go back into the studio, I'm gonna mess with it just for the hell of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
But
I
again,
appreciate y'all for having-
yo, thank you, man. Thank you for hopping on, and I'm gonna like put your links down in the description to all your pages. So if you want to find
Appreciate
Backpack
you.
anywhere else, just look at the description down below. And please, if you haven't already, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and as always, share this with a friend if you get me.